I've been a part of a few crazy things in my life, but nothing crazier than what just took place last weekend. And all it involved was a baseball game, one baseball just like this, a little boy, and one fanatic Cubs fan, and the rest is national headline history. So what happened? Well, I'm gonna break it down for you right now and just share one of the craziest things I've ever been a part of. Let's find out what happened right now. What is going on, everybody? So I cannot believe that this little thing, this fear, could cause so much drama, so much outrage. It just blows my mind. So if you're watching this, you may already know what happened, but in case you didn't, let me just give you some backstory. So I am a diehard St. Louis Cardinals baseball fan. I've been a fan my entire life. Go Cardinals. My boys are also Cardinal fans. My wife roots for the Cardinals. And for the past 2 years, the Cardinals have played the Chicago Cubs in Wrigley Field. And last year I took my oldest son. We went, they lost, had a good time. But this year they played again on his birthday and we wanted to go back. But this time I wanted to take my middle son because he's also a Cards fan. I wanted my wife to go just so that we could enjoy it and have a trip, you know, the 2 older boys and us, and just had a really good time, a good trip of it. So we're at Wrigley enjoying the game. Before the game, my boys got 4 or 5 different autographs. They snagged, I think it was like 4 or 5 balls before the game started. I mean, they were set. I mean, they just were in the perfect position to get as many of these as they possibly could. And then the game starts. Now, the way that I like to roll when I go to a game is I want to have good seats. And if I'm going to Wrigley, if I'm going to a game that is a different ballpark, like, I want to be close. So I was able to land these first row seats in the bullpen section. The year before that, we sat behind the dugout, which were great seats, but I didn't realize, and I'm glad that I didn't get these seats again, but behind the dugout, they put in this new netting to protect people from foul balls, from getting hit. But here in the bullpen section, you were right there. So if any of the players were throwing balls in like after the innings, or if there were foul balls, sometimes like the ball boy or the first base coach, and we get a ball and they would throw it in, like, we had the best seats, the best opportunity to get as many foul balls as we could. So I just missed it, but my middle son got a ball, and the deal is that if he gets a ball, he has to give it to his older brother since it's his birthday. And the ball exchange just happened. Okay. So directly next to me, there was a grandpa and grandma that were there. They were there with, I'm assuming, their grandson. I think it was his first Cubs game. They were all decked out in Cubs gear. Go Cardinals. And I could just tell the boy was having a blast. And I believe it was the second inning, a foul ball was hit in our section and he was able to get a ball with some assistance for some of the fans sitting next to him. Well, it wasn't an inning or 2 after that, a foul ball was hit to the tarp. So it had rained before the game, so they had the tarp right in front of us. And the Chicago Cubs first base coach grabbed the ball and then walked over and then tossed it to the little boy who was sitting next to me. Now, I think he was probably, I'm guessing, 3, 4 years old, maybe 5. I think he was more 4 though. He didn't catch the ball and it went underneath the seat. So immediately right then, the Cubs fan behind him scrambled to get that ball, and he grabbed it and then gave it to his wife or girlfriend sitting next to him. And everybody around us, like, we saw it happen, but no one said anything because, for the most part, the boy had just got a ball. Like, he just got a ball the inning before that. So nothing was said. Everybody kind of went on their way. Even the grandmother, she just kind of smiled, like didn't really say anything. Like, it was really no big deal. So the game ends, the Cubs win, and I hear the song, flying the W, go Cubs go, blah, blah, blah. We leave, we get a lift back to our hotel, and my wife, I believe, is on Facebook, and she shares this video clip, I think that her mom had shared, and it was shared from this page called Cut 4. And apparently, whenever the first base coach tossed the ball into the stands, the video cameras were recording this, and the commentators were talking about how a fan was getting ready to get a souvenir, and then they caught this guy taking the ball from this kid, and that clip was shared, you know, with the headline, you know, "Don't be this guy" at the game. And I can't remember how many views it had at that time, but I think it was about 500,000. And keep in mind, the game had been over at that time about an hour. We stayed a little bit after the game trying to get more signatures, so we didn't leave immediately afterwards. So within an hour, it had at least 500,000, maybe over 1 million views at that time. So by the time we get back to the hotel room, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and this video is going viral. It's being shared, it's being retweeted, and the part that really stood out to me was the comments. I mean, these people were calling this guy a scumbag, a douchebag. I mean, they were calling this guy everything. And there was this one Twitter guy who ended up deleting his tweet about it, but basically took a screenshot of this guy's face and put it on Twitter and just like trying to find out who this guy was, like as if he was trying to get him fired or, you know, trying to get him in trouble for doing what he did. And it just blew me away, because what these people didn't realize was the kid, the little boy, had just got a ball. Like, he just got a ball an inning before that this guy actually had helped him get. And what they also didn't know was, as the game got on, that same guy that everybody was calling a scumbag and a jerk, he was able to snag, I think, at least 2, if not 3 more balls that were thrown in our direction, and he definitely was trying to get it, but he gave them to all the other kids sitting around him. And in other cases, he was yelling at the first base coach or a player coming off the field to, like, hey, you know, throw a ball in to give it to another kid. I mean, he was making sure that every kid around us was getting a ball. Like, that's what this guy was doing. But yet the internet was tarring and feathering this dude, and they were just hanging him out to dry and just wanted to take this guy down because of just the jerk move that he did based on that one 11-second clip. So I get back to the hotel room and I'm like, I gotta say something, because this guy does not deserve this. You know, my belief is that if people know how he helped this boy get a ball, how he helped at least 2 or 3 other kids in the stands get a ball too, like, he doesn't deserve this. So I went to Twitter and I posted a tweet just sharing the real story of what happened. And then even still, the people were lashing out and just saying he didn't deserve the ball, the kid deserved to get the ball, it's still a jerk move, and blah, blah, blah. So as I'm on Twitter trying to stand up for this guy, I mean, this story is going viral. It was on People, it was on CBS News, it was on Mashable, it was on Deadspin. I mean, it was everywhere. And even it was on Good Morning America. You know, Robin Robbins talked about it, and she even didn't give this guy any grace for taking this kid's ball, even though, like, she said that he apparently helped him and other kids get a ball, but she's like, oh, that's no excuse, you know, he still shouldn't have done that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this poor guy, all these people were just wanting to blast him when all he did was take a ball that the kid missed, even though he helped the kid get a ball before that. Like, it was crazy to me. So after I put my tweet out there and I'm responding to people and making the story straight, I mean, there were some people that were coming to this guy's rescue. There was another gentleman who was sitting directly next to him who also came to defend him and just let everybody know, like, okay, this dude was not as bad as everybody is making him to believe. I had reporters from Chicago, like Chicago NBC and other outfits, reaching out to me on Twitter, asking if I would come on and talk, you know, about the incident and just, you know, revealing the truth of what happened. And I would have, but, you know, we were there just for a few days, and I was actually on our way to play whirly ball that afternoon. So I had my priorities where they needed to be, so I didn't actually do that. but I definitely let them know, you know, everything they needed to know, you know, through social media, just like, hey, this guy doesn't deserve this. Like, he's not a bad dude. Like, just, you got 11 seconds of a much longer version that should have been told, and it just wasn't right. It's funny too, because during the game, this female, I was assuming from the Chicago Cubs, had came down. I mean, she was standing right in front of me, and she brought down a signed ball from Javier Baez. And I couldn't hear all the conversation because she was talking away from me, but I was pretty sure I heard signed ball, and initially I just assumed that they knew somebody that was going to give this little kid a hookup because it was his first Cubs game. I didn't realize that the Cubs organization had saw the media clip like in real time and wanted to make it right. So they came down, gave the little boy a signed ball, and they put that on Twitter, you know, showing making it right. But the funny thing was, like, that actually added fuel to the fire, because there was that one media clip that Cutvor shared, and then Chicago Cubs shared that tweet, the picture of the boy, about you know, making things right. But the funny thing about that picture, which people finally picked up on, was he wasn't just holding one signed Javier Baez ball, he was holding two balls. He had one brand new signed ball, and you could tell it was a used baseball, which was the ball that he got just before the whole ball scandal incident that guy helped him get. Like, he had two balls. Like, he didn't just have the one, like, he already had the ball. But people didn't really catch on to that until the facts started coming out. So for the next day or two, like, I was standing up for this guy. Like, I was on Twitter going back at people, just letting them know, like, listen, like, you don't have the right to judge this dude for 11 seconds of a 9-inning game. Like, you were not there. Like, you don't have the complete facts. Like, you don't really have the right to make a judgment call based on this one clip when you don't know the complete story. And okay, so yeah, you're reading some other reports and you're listening to what other people have said, but you weren't there. Like, you weren't there. You can have an opinion, but your opinion is off because you weren't there. Like, you don't have all the facts to make the right opinion. So finally the next day, it starts being revealed that this guy that social media was just bashing, that they were just going after this guy and making him to be even worse than Bartman. Oh my goodness, you know, like the worst, one of the worst Cub fans ever. It finally started being revealed that this guy maybe isn't the jerk that social media made him out to be. So they started publishing articles on Inside Edition and Yahoo and like basically all the other big sites again, just sharing all the details. And the funny thing was, like, my tweet that I posted about this guy, just letting people know what happened, like that was included in the article. There was also another Chicago sports journalist, David Kaplan, who also wanted to find out the truth with this guy, and he reached out to the Cubs organization to find out like what had happened. And he even tweeted that, you know, he spoke to the Cubs and turned out like, yes, the guy did help the kid get a ball, like all is good. So the kid still got a ball at the game, and he got a signed Javier Baez ball. Like, to me, that's a win-win. Like, he still got two balls, but yet people were still angry at this guy, and I just don't understand. I don't get it. But really the main thing that I wanted to drive home, and this was the conversation I had with my boys when we get back to the hotel, was, do you see how you can see a news clip, how you can watch something on YouTube, how you can read something on Facebook, and depending on who's sharing it, how you can quickly form an opinion about somebody or something without having the complete story. And I shared like some of the comments, you know, that was appropriate for me to share with them. And they were like, oh my God, Dad, like that guy, like he helped so many kids get a ball. Like, he's not a jerk. Like, why is everybody saying that? And I said, dude, that is social media. That is the internet. And that is just why you have to be careful in everything that you do. But even times when you mess up and do something that some people might classify as being a jerk move, and that is one 11-second mistake, how people will just come out from anywhere and everywhere and just want to just rake you over the coals. I mean, it was such a valuable lesson showing people, because that video that initially was shared now has over 4 million views. 4 million people watched that video. And the funny thing was, I talked to a lot of people that heard about the clip. They didn't know that I was at the game. They even watched the clip and didn't recognize me at first. And when they heard the headline, or they heard about the story, or maybe they just saw a social media update, their very first thought was, man, that guy's a jerk. They didn't even know the story, but because of the headline, because of how people were sharing it and conveying what they thought the truth was, what had happened, it was easy for them. And I would have done the same thing. Had I watched that 11-second clip and that's all I knew, I would have thought this guy was a jerk too. And it just made me really just stop and think, how many times have I formed an opinion based off a tweet, a Facebook update, a blog post, or a video that somebody shared that I didn't take the time to do the research myself? Well, thankfully, that wasn't me that took the ball. Thankfully, that wasn't me, and that wasn't my face that was plastered all over social media. Whew, that would have been a disaster. Now, I don't even know this guy's name. I hope that he's okay. I hope that he hasn't lost his job. I hope that he hasn't had any death threats. I hope that he's welcome back to see a game at Wrigley. But man, like, just remember, like, lesson learned. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you retweet or what you reshare. Make sure that you do some research before you put information out there, because you don't know who you're hurting. You don't know the consequences of you just doing that. And just make sure that you have all of your facts straight. And the other big lesson learned is, don't take a ball from a 4-year-old kid. Give the kid the ball, for dear Lord, because this is what's gonna happen. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed doing it for you. It was fun being there at the game, and it was fun being a part of this and just seeing how this whole thing unfolded. I mean, it was just crazy. But I'm curious, have you ever been involved in a similar situation where something was shared, something was said, but you knew that that wasn't the complete truth, that you knew that there was more to the story, and you were compelled to share that so others knew that they could have a more informed, a better informed decision about what really happened? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if that has happened to you. I'm curious, because I'm sure that it has, especially how social media is so crazy. All right, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Just don't take a ball from a 4-year-old kid. Till next time, peace.